data types. So as you can see, this is a documentation of Java in the w3schools.com, and we have different types of data types like in the w3schools.com/java. And you can just go ahead and google about documentation is like it gives all the information about a thing. So integer basically means the first data type that we're going to see is int. So int, the my num is a variable that it represents. The phi is stored in the variable named my num. So int is basically a whole number, and float is basically a floating point number. And characters can only be but the data type basically means the type of data that we are going to save inside a this thing, a variable. So boolean will only store true and false, two values, true or false. And string are basically set of characters. So the characters can store only one thing, and strings can store a number of characters. So let me just remove this. These are the future videos that we're gonna see. So let me just put int I. Let me just give another number. I'm gonna give it as, I'm sorry, there was some disturbance over here. So let me just go to the data types and show you how we're gonna assign a variable. So let me just number. So I'm gonna assign it to 12. So this is, and after that a semicolon. So we are supposed we're gonna print this thing, system.out.println, and when we print the number, as you can see over here, so run without login. So 12, the 12 number is gonna be printed. I mean like outputted. So in the console, what if I put this point, and let's see what will be the output. Output will be, there will be an error because it says an incompatible type. As you can see over here, possible lossy conversion between float to integer, from double to integer. So basically it is noted as double, the point thing. So if you wanna, this is a whole number basically, and if I run it again, now it's gonna fix the error. So there are more different types of variables like this thing, float. Essentially float is a floating point number, as you can, as we saw in the previous this thing and the tab, that was fractional numbers. It stores fractional numbers. So if I put this thing and a thing about this thing, if I put just 14.6, it's gonna show me this thing error over here. Let me just think, and as you can see, it will show me an error because we are supposed to, let me just see that again, from double. So as you can see, the point thing are doubles. So doubles is just like float, but a little bit more. I'm gonna remove this and write double. So double, and if I run it, it's gonna fix that. So in order to output a float over here, let me just see float over here. Let me just remove this thing, float, and I'm sorry, so let me just go ahead and do that again. See that again over here. You might have noticed this, that I am missing this thing. We are supposed to float, and we are supposed to put f in order to tell the compiler that we are using a float. If I put f, now it's gonna print 14.6, as you all can see over here. So this f is a keyword to note that variable, that number is a float. Otherwise it's gonna basically think, if by default it's gonna think that it is a double. So that's double. And now we're gonna see about char. Char basically stores only one. And this is a variable, letter. You can give this nothing magical about it. You can always give anything, and it can only store one value, like s, anything, only one, inside double quotes or single quotes. So if I run the letter s will be printed. So as you all can see, I hope that you all are following me. If you have any problems, you can always give me, ask me questions. And the next type we're gonna see is a boolean. So let me just remove that. I'm gonna boolean, boolean, and now I'm gonna give it as, let me think about the name. Is game over. I'm gonna give it as game over. That basically stores the game over. I'm gonna give it as true. The semicolon is basically necessary, and we can also give it false. So we'll see about the uses of this thing in the future videos. You'll know how to use this thing. Like if I use a if statement, this is something if statement over here that says game over is equal to true, and if that is the case, we're gonna print this thing. We're gonna maybe, and there's a else part over here, and it isn't necessary that there should be a else part. If game over is equal to false, then we'll print something, and if game over is true, we're gonna print something else. So we're gonna keep the player alive, something like that. If I print over here player is, you lost lost game over. So you can also write you are alive and game over is equal to, if game over was equal to true, you haven't lost. And the last thing is string, and this is something that we're gonna use all the time. String, we are supposed to put string capital with the capital S, and I'm gonna give a name of the variable. String, let me just remove that, char, and let me show you about this thing. Like before that, like string, and if I put over here, let me think of a variable. Let me just put name and put it inside double quotes. You're supposed to assign anything inside a string will be inside double quotes. As you can see, Saif Khan over here. Let me put that semicolon and let me print this thing. And if I print name, as you all can see, I did that, and press run without login, and now it's showing some kind of error over here. Yeah, I'm missing a this thing. By mistakenly removed that. Now it's gonna run properly. As you all can see, Saif Khan was printed, the name. So this thing basically stores the variable name, stores the value Saif Khan, and if I put char over here, it's gonna show an error because char can only store one value, only one value at a time, only one value. Like it can only store S and A. So there are more things over here, as you all can see in this documentation. You can always find different types of documentation on internet. You can always Google. As you all can see, this is float are of two types, as you can see, float and double. The double is basically used, by default used by this thing, by the Java compiler that we are using. So now, represents number with fractional part, and we did that thing over here. This is a string, and if we put f, so that will basically convert this thing to f, a float. But strings cannot be converted to floats, as you all know. String is not a number, it's basically a set of characters inside this thing. Let me just remove that. So that's it for this video, guys. See you in the next video. We're gonna talk about more things. Goodbye.